everybody. Welcome to DNS Live. We've been playing some reruns the last couple of weeks, so you guys get to see something a little fun tonight. It's kind of taken us a while to get some stuff organized, and we've had a bunch of stuff going on. So tonight we're going to look at an investigation that we did probably a couple of months ago, 2-3 months ago, out in an open cemetery. It was one of the weekends after, if you guys keep up with NPS a lot, it was one of the weekends when we had looked at some pictures of lens flare, as well as usual, some orbs. But we went out to 2 or 3 cemeteries that night in different areas, and did some filming, did some taking of pictures, trying to get some anomalies, trying to capture some things for you guys to look at. You know, I told you when we started off, excuse me, with DNS Live going to a new night that we were going to start doing some more live stuff. We haven't been out investigating. It's just been too damn hot, to be honest with you. It's starting to cool off a little bit in the month of October, so we're starting to plan to get out a little bit more. So you're going to see us doing not only our regular type of investigations, but I'm going to be honing in a little bit more on experiments. So as we have stuff pop up on NPS, we're going to kind of address that in our investigations and do those experiments. So we ended up at a very, very old cemetery. It's one of my favorites to go to. We normally get a lot of responses at this place. We didn't get a whole lot this night that we went, but we did get some stuff that I do want you to pay attention to and I want you to look at. I'll point them out to you. What we're going to do is look at a couple of clips tonight throughout the whole hour of the show, and we'll talk about some of that stuff. If you guys in the chat room have questions or comments, you guys know how we run the show, let me know. We'll go through that. I do want to tell you that this particular location, it's a small cemetery that backs up to a larger cemetery. It is off of a main highway, but it's behind a building that kind of blocks that noise. So it's going to be fairly quiet at times. I believe that some of this was taken in the other location, so we'll go back and forth between the 2 locations. But there is a pond of water to the back of this location. It's not a very large pond of water, but there is a pond of water there. What else can I tell you about it? The roads inside the cemetery, thank you, are concrete. They're not gravel. And what else can I tell you? There's probably, you know, dirt issues, bug issues, that type of thing. So keep that information in mind as we begin watching these clips, because what we're going to do is we're going to watch a clip, and then afterwards we'll kind of talk about what was captured and what was in there. I'll tell you when to pay attention to stuff so we can talk about that. And then hopefully we can leave tonight's show a little better informed about some things. That's at least my goal for tonight, is to be able to do that. So, Eric, if you're ready, let's play this first clip. You'll actually see me working with a pendulum. If you guys saw me over the weekend, I did do another radio show for 2 hours, and we talked about the pendulum and using the pendulum. You guys know I love my pendulum, so I was asked how I use it, so I thought we'd start off with that. So let's take a look at how to use a pendulum, how it works, and kind of pay attention here, and we'll talk some more about pendulums after this clip.
Are you filming?
I am now.
Okay. I want to notate the wind's blowing right now. My pendulum's not moving at all. Wind's blowing from behind me. Okay. Is there anyone here tonight that would like to speak with us? Back and forth for yes, circle for no. Stop. Now, we've got a big gust of wind right now, and my pendulum's not moving. Can you show me no? Show me no. A little bigger, please. Stop. Adolphus, is that you? How did I know? Stop. Adolphus, did PM come out? Adolphus, did PM come out? No. Stop. It's Father's Day weekend. Did Daddy come out? Oh, Daddy is out. Stop. Stop. Do we need to have anything to be concerned about tonight? Any concerns tonight, Adolphus? Stop. Do we need to worry about spirits tonight? Adolphus, do we need to worry about spirits? No, but we need to be concerned tonight. Are you jacking with me? Stop. If it's not spirits, is it human? Stop. Do we need to worry about the police coming out tonight? Stop.
Big yes.
Do we have at least an hour to work with? Stop. 30 minutes?
I'll keep an eye on it.
He's saying about 30 minutes. Stop. Alright, thank you, Adolphus. We've got 30 minutes. That means we gotta watch these people.
No. You know me, I always... This is what I do.
Yeah, but we've got a lot of lights lit up out here, so we're gonna have to...
Well, there's only one way in this place, so...
I know.
I mean, we don't have to worry about trespassing. There's not a locked gate.
Yep. Well,
We've been told by the curator of the other one that we're allowed in here, so... I have to have a license. But,
let's get down to the nitty-gritty.
really, I'll have to fucking have my gun.
Well, we only have to watch that way,
I know.
because there's no way back behind us. Let's see what it's doing tonight.
The only other way in, remember that little gate? Remember where we parked last time?
Yeah.
Over there? Where that, where you can actually park at that building across the street.
Oh, and walk across.
Walk across the grass, where they were supposed to put a fence over there.
Oh, that's right. Adolphus, are you still with me? Cross for yes, out for no. Adolphus? Adolphus. Neutral. Neutral. Straight out, Adolphus, thank you. The wind's blowing and you notice they're staying pretty steady.
Yeah, I'm
Neutral,
noticing that.
Adolphus. Now the wind's gonna blow. Hang on, Adolphus. Alright, Adolphus, which way is the popo gonna come from? Which way? Left or right? Which way is popo gonna come from? Popo, the police. Do we need to worry about the police tonight? Which way, Adolphus? D? D? He's telling us which way. Yep. Adolphus, where's Jason? Where's Jason? Come on, you need to be familiar with everybody. Where's Jason?
The thing is that they can also park in front and walk behind immediately look at the flashlight.
Alright, there's Jason. Good job. Where's Deegan? Where's Deegan?
The driveway's not two-sided. I mean, you can see the entrance right here.
Yep. Good job. Alright, Adolphus, are there other spirits here tonight that might want to speak with us? Is that a no? Look at this. No other spirits tonight. Really, Adolphus? Okay. Can you point to probably the most active part of the cemetery, maybe? Where's the most active part of the cemetery? Over there? Do we have our equipment set up in the right area? Yes. Okay. Alright, we'll just be patient. Neutral? Neutral. I'll get the neutral back out here in a minute. Let's see, what time is it?
So you guys got to see a little bit of me working with the pendulum, and you got to see a little bit of the dowsing rods, and now you see why me and the dowsing rods don't get along so well. They don't work very well for me. That's more of Zach's gig, and I kind of leave that to him, and I stick with the pendulum. But we were out that night asking to see who was there, what kind of activity we could get. And what I was trying to show, and what you probably saw, was the pendulum, even though it was kind of windy outside, wasn't moving. But when we went to the dowsing rods, there was a little bit of movement from the wind. So when we're investigating, that's one thing we need to keep in mind is the wind direction and how it's going to affect things, especially if you're using a pendulum in your dowsing rods. So that was kind of an interesting experiment that we did. It was one of those that we had a mindset of doing things that could show debunking, doing things that could show what we need to be looking for. While we were investigating and running our normal equipment, our sole purpose wasn't really there to get activity because we've been there, we know it's active before, but was to see what we could do to kind of toy with things and get a response. So the pendulum we did, the dowsing rods we did in that clip. Now, this next one that we're going to watch, I want you guys to pay particular attention. Some of these clips, it's going to be quiet because we are listening for EVPs and we are waiting for some reactions. So as we get going through these next couple of clips, you may or may not hear us speaking at different times within the clip. So I want you to pay attention to things in the background. I want you to listen for the wind, listen for any kind of noises, because those are the things as investigators we need to tune into to be able to tune out to make sure that we're debunking the sound of a car, the sound of a car door, the wind blowing on our mics of our recorders and that type of thing. So pay attention to that kind of stuff. Now, this next clip, there are what I have marked down for us to talk about and pay attention to, 4 known anomalies in it. 4 separate known anomalies. Now, the first one's going to happen about a minute and a half into the clip. The next one will happen about 3 minutes or so into the clip. And then the last 2 will happen towards the end of the clip. So I want you to watch for those. And as you guys in the chat room see them, I want you to comment and tell me what you think they are. I know what they are, so I'm not asking you to tell me what they are. I want you to tell me what you think they are. And when we get done watching the clip, we'll review what they are. So Eric, if you want, let's go ahead and play this next one.
I was trying to find it again.
The demons have made me a minion automatic.
Say what?
You are an idiot and may God have mercy on your soul.
That's what I just want to tell some of these people. Hoo-hoo-hoo.
Let me text Alex and tell him.
Ooh, there we go.
So that's how we do it. I'll just text Alex after I tag him on it. And we got Steven and Ash on it.
Is that my phone that keeps dinging?
He just went off. Yeah, it's mine.
Oh, it's yours. Okay. I'll turn my volume off. Alright, is there anybody here that wants to come talk to us? We didn't come out here for nothing. You don't have to be afraid of us. We're not here to hurt you. That was me blowing on the camera.
Alex just texted me. Let's see. I'm fishing. Ugh.
Ooh, cool. Hey, Sheri. Come look at the screen. Watch.
I wish we could screenshot that. Hang on.
Oh, once I get it uploaded, I can.
Yeah, we need to screenshot that because that's just
That's lens flare.
Uh-huh. Let's see. I need to go back into reps.
Yeah, it goes all the way around. That card is that one is not going. Just circle back around. There's 2 entrances to the road on here. That's all.
Okay, so did you guys see some cool stuff in that clip or what? There were a couple of spirits around that graveyard, weren't there? Being a smartass. So the very first thing that we saw, we were kind of chit-chatting in the chat room. You guys, what do you think the first anomaly was? Somebody said they thought it was a bug. Do you guys think that was a bug? Or do you guys think that was an orb? Or a dorb? Oh, somebody saw just one awesome tattoo? You must be blind. There's like 38 on that man. So, would you guys agree with me if I told you that that was a bug? The very first one that we saw? That's what it was. That was a bug. We had them flying all around us that night. I'm surprised we didn't capture more of them. But that was definitely a bug that went flying by. Dead Aunt Mabel, you know, I think she made an appearance towards the end of the video. I think she made an appearance at the end. We'll see. The second anomaly that you guys saw, did you see the lens flare going across the camera as it was reflecting off of some of the metallic, I believe it was actually the antenna of the REM pod that it was reflecting off of? Those are the kind of things, guys, when we tell you to be aware of your surroundings and not to film towards reflective surfaces, when we're using the handheld camera and we've got all the lights on the light bar to be able to film, it will reflect off of those antennas. So you need to be aware of that when you're filming and make a note of it, because that wasn't an orb and it wasn't a spirit, wasn't a vortex, was nothing like that. That was actually lens flare. So you kind of know what it looks like now. Lens flare can take on all sorts of different appearances and shapes depending upon what it's being reflected off of. So keep that in mind. So that was definitely lens flare. And then the last two were a little close together. They were probably about 20 seconds apart. Those were bugs again. So pay attention to your surroundings. You guys knew we were outside. I kind of gave you that information right up front, so you had it about the pond, because we could have had moisture orbs gathered throughout the night too because of that. The lens flare, I told you about being near the highway, so we could have had some car headlights flashing on us. So I tried to give you as much information as I could, not just to review the video that I'm sharing with you, but so that you can think when you're out and about. It doesn't have to be a cemetery, guys. You could be investigating a building and it's got windows up front that aren't covered. You still need to be thinking about things outside that could be reflecting inside. That's why we will always ask you, hey, what's outside? Did you take a look at this? Is there something reflecting? We'll always ask you a bunch of questions about your stuff because of that. So just be aware of your surroundings. Now, the next two clips, they're going to focus more on kind of what we were doing. And, again, we're just trying to get things to happen and trying to do some experiments. So we're going to take a look at this next clip. There's really nothing special about it. I just want you guys to kind of take a look at it and we can commentate on how things look. And there's probably not going to be a whole lot of talking during this one, because if this is the one that I recall, we were actually waiting for the equipment to give us some responses. So let's take a look at this next clip.
Image through the trees above the cemetery. Anybody here? Everybody at peace tonight? This was just like the urns and stuff.
No, it was like
babies.
women or kids or something.
I don't remember.
Significant. Why it was separated from.
No. Effective. The mausoleum?
No, the Jesus.
Oh, it's over here.
Can't wait till Jeremy comes out with his new IR light.
Yeah, Jesus is right here. Go up here. Oh, really, Jesus.
Does he follow you?
I hear ducks.
I hear ducks too.
Where's the duckies? Is this what you were talking about, Dee? Yeah. Well, there's the thing
When we was out here, they had like, what, there was like 4 or 5 groups of families out here visiting the grave
All
and
back there.
just very peaceful. I think they had a funeral that day.
Anybody hear a fly through the door?
Is this thing right here? This
Oh, yeah.
got all the names on it. I think, turned the light on. Right over here, so it's right. Did you have Katie with us that day? No, we was right one of the kids out here during the day.
Zach.
Oh,
Yeah, Zach out here.
yeah.
We got Selena out there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Camera, he's like, I don't want to see him.
Up there.
I don't want to see him anymore.
Yeah, there it is. Brought my fish. Get it.
So, did you guys enjoy the tour of my bathroom? I'm sorry, I had to do that. Since B thought that's where we were. Kind of a boring clip, but you guys that have been out investigating, you know that that is right there, the epitome of ghost hunting. Boring, quiet, waiting for something to happen. Yeah, that's pretty much how it is. There wasn't a whole lot going on there. We were trying to get some responses that didn't happen. Now, we ended up putting out some equipment. So we ended up putting the REM pod out. We put out the 360 periscope. We put out 2 of the regular periscopes. We put out the geopod. Trying to think what else we had out. We had the millimeter out. I can't think what else we had, but we ended up pulling out some of our equipment, and we wanted to see if we could get some responses on the equipment, because we all know that sometimes we get some flashes of light. We might get the REM pod to make a sound. We might get something captured on the millimeter. We might get the periscope to go off, but we also know that some of these things can be triggered by other items. Like we know that the K2 meter, the doorstop that people like to use, can be triggered by cell phones. So we like to try to go out and take the equipment, take our cell phones, take radios, tape that kind of thing around it, and see what other kind of responses we can get. Now, during this investigation, we were playing around with the REM pod, and you'll see we have 2 clips coming up with the REM pod. You'll see the REM pod focused on in one clip. We don't get a whole lot of response on it. You'll see the REM pod in another clip where we did get some response on it, and you'll hear us trying to debunk it because of where we are. Now, keep in mind that we are outside this investigation. If we were inside, we probably would have placed the equipment not on the grass. Keep that in mind when you're watching. We probably would have placed them a little bit higher up, and we probably wouldn't have had the bugs going through for the anomalies. We may or may not have had that lens flare because, again, the camera lights were lighting up the antenna on the REM pod. So we might have had some different anomalies. Some dust. You guys know what dust orbs look like. We might have even had a little bit of shadow play depending on where the light was and where we are in an inside location. So keep that in mind as well. We did take pictures while we were out here with the DSLRs. Because we like to do both for comparison. And you can, it's something that's probably not a bad idea when you're out investigating. We do the 1, 2, 3 rule of taking 3 successive pictures. We do the rule of taking pictures of the location in the light, whether that's lights on in an inside location or out in the sun on an outside location. But you always want to do comparison pictures. So why not take it a step further and try what a cell phone camera can get? Because you know we all carry them and everybody likes taking pictures with them, versus what a DSLR is going to get, versus if you guys want to take your Polaroids out there. Film's expensive, so take those, very cautiously. But you can take any kind of camera and kind of compare how they're going to get things picked up. And sometimes what I like to do is stand in one spot, shoot with my Nikon, and then shoot with my cell phone, and then come back and see kind of what they look like. I'm in the same place, picturing in my mind, here's what I want. So I do it with the DSLR, then I do it with my cell phone, and you'd be amazed at kind of not just the pixelation differences, but the lighting differences and that type of thing. So it's another experiment to play with when you're out there. And you guys know I love playing with photography and picture experiments. So keep that in mind when you're investigating. Use a couple of different cameras. You've already got your night vision going, or you've got your full spectrum going. You can snap some pictures with some of those cameras too. So keep in mind that you want to take as many pictures as possible for comparison, but you also want them for referral later. Now, what we had done this night is we kind of took a break in between these two sections that you're seeing on the clips, and we pulled out our Nikons and we started taking pictures. Jason and I both have the same model camera, so he's got his Nikon, I've got mine, and we started taking pictures. And then we decided we were going to play with lens flare. So here's something for you guys to have fun with on your next investigation when it's kind of quiet. And it might spark some activity, you just never know, but take your flashlight. We actually had a green flashlight that night, a red flashlight that night, and I'm talking the actual lens, the light itself, not the color of the flashlight. And we had a regular white flashlight. And I stood out in the middle. You guys may have seen some of these on my Facebook a couple of months ago. I stood out in the middle of the graveyard and started doing figure eights with these flashlights while Jason took pictures. And you can literally see where it looks like I am holding a neon figure eight just from twisting my hands back and forth to make that form. Well, we talk about shutter speed. That's what captures that, is how your shutter speed is set. So make sure you're paying attention to that. When we're getting light streaks across pictures, we see a lot of those on NPS, that's shutter speed. So play with your cameras. We were talking about it today, as a matter of fact. Somebody posted a picture. You need to know what your camera is capable of and what pictures look like when you capture dust, which we all should know by now, moisture orbs, which we all should know by now, bugs, which we all should know by now, lens flare, start toying and playing with that, and your shutter speed. Those are things that you guys need to know about. We've got it on the NPS website under photography, so check it out. We're going to be doing a little bit more with it in the upcoming weeks. You'll start seeing some articles about that. So keep that in mind when you're investigating, okay? We talk about our regular paranormal equipment. We need to talk about photography too. We're still waiting for the holy grail of pictures. Don't know if we'll get it or not. I don't know. And I'm the first one to debunk anything and everything out there. So try to take as much documentation and evidence as you can when you're out there, and let's see what we can get with it. And let's see what we can get that's new. Let's see if we can catch a different version of an orb or door bird or whatever we want to call it. So having said that and boring you to death, let's go ahead and look at the next clip. I want you guys to pay attention because we're trying to get some activity off the REM pod on this one. Pay attention to the REM pod. Look where all the equipment is set up and think about, okay, is where we set this stuff up going to affect our equipment? And let's look and see if it does or not. So let's go ahead and watch this next clip.
Somebody here? Who's messing with my camera? Come on.
Is yours doing that too?
Uh-huh.
Mine was doing that earlier. That's why I finally put it down.
Sometimes it's got a hard time focusing,
Yeah.
but a lot of times, like right now, it's not working at all. Who's messing with the camera? A lot of times that's what it is, they're messing with you.
That's exactly what mine was doing a little while ago.
Who's messing with my camera? Okay, then you must be over here. Can I take a picture of you, please?
It must be right there because that's exactly where I was standing. It was
Did
right
I get you?
right back over there, behind you.
Of course, where I want to look for this phone. I thought it this would. Woohoo! Go me. Can I take your picture again? Are you in front of me? Let me take your picture. Please. Can I take your picture? You're not going to let me. She's right here. You know what? I'm taking a picture of you. Why should I not take your picture? Weird. Picture? Thank you. I have a hard time sometimes at night.
It was doing. Mine was doing the same thing.
It's like even if I put you in the middle,
Every other exposure would be blurry.
it's so weird. But it's nice to know yours is doing it too. Can you come out here and light up the REM pod again? It's kind of a new toy. You haven't seen that one before, have you? Come on over here and touch it. Light it up. I want to see it go red. You've managed green. How about red? Can you light up red on it? Alexis said, yeah, that guy's going to find out how much he likes demons soon enough. Are there before and after shots? See, I see it was IR and Alan got it anyway. I have some orb shots for you guys if you have them in your teeth. No.
Okay, so no reaction on the REM pod during that whole entire time. You can tell we were moving the camera around, and Jason actually put it down at the end and had his fingerprints on it. Was not a ghost. Those are fingers, kind of what they look like. We did see some bugs flying around, so that does go back to where we were talking about earlier. There are bugs flying around, so that's how we debunk and know that they weren't orbs. You could see their little wings. Really nothing much going on in those clips. We were trying to get some activity. Really didn't get it. You guys can see the church that was between us and the main road where the cars were going back and forth. So you could hear some of the traffic, but it's still kind of muffled by the building back in that area. Other than that, it's pretty dang quiet back in that area. So let's take a step forward. We actually got some reactions on the REM pod in this next clip. And let's see if we can look at maybe what was causing that. Was it something that was paranormal? Or was it something that was logical? So, Eric, let's go ahead and play this next clip and let's see.
Damn it. Flash didn't go off. That was blurry. So it's too dark, you think? Flash on. Why are you not flashing now? Where's the little button? There we go. Do it again. You like the color green. Was green your favorite color? Or are you trying to match the grid? Light it up again.
Seems to do it when we're not paying attention.
I wonder if there's a bug flying around it. How sensitive is it? You know, I wonder if it's a bug.
No, because I'm right on it and I kind of zoomed in. I don't see any bugs around at all. Not flying around anyways.
Can you do it again? That time we were paying attention.
If you get a little even closer to it, you can make it go to orange, blue, and red.
Come on, light them all up. I think your favorite color is green, because you lit it up again when I was talking about green and the grid. Is your favorite color green? Do we have to ignore you again? Get you to light it up. Come on. Do it one more time. There we go. And we have a full day tonight.
Yeah, we do. See if I can. That right there would be our full moon. Bless you.
Blast off, thank you. My camera doesn't want to picture. Subject's too dark, but that's the whole point.
Here, you can play with that one too. I did. I put the 360 down by the REM pod. Told him I could play with that one too.
Oh, because I was like, is that a conversation I hear?
And I said, here, you can play with that one too. Okay, I just heard a car radio. Yeah. At first I heard some more high pitch. I thought it was whistling, and then as the car went by, I noticed it was a radio.
Hey, Dee. Lauren's case, Alex said they went out there, and he said it's a human ghost male, classified as being very high EMF in the kitchen, flooded actually. He said, oh, which one had the pretty angel statue or headstone? The first one. Alex is getting a read on. Lauren, that was out there in flash didn't go off. That was blurry. So it was too dark, you think? Flash on.
Okay, so we got a little bit more activity on the REM pod at that point, but you can hear us try to guess, was it a bug that was setting it off? Was it a blade of grass? Probably wasn't so smart to stick it in the grass, but, you know, we were out there having fun, throwing around the toys. So, we did get some responses off the geopod, and we did get some responses off our periscopes out there. The geopod was on the grass, as you saw here towards the end of the clip, but for the most part of the night, we had most of the Paranologies equipment on top of headstones or concrete blocks that were out there, trying to see if the bugs flying around would affect anything, or if we actually got some activity. So this particular night, we didn't capture a whole lot of activity. Most of the time we go out here, we can hear some EVPs. We actually have some stuff going off on the spirit box, and we will actually feel stuff coming on. I've actually taken my pendulum out at this cemetery and gotten some responses on the pendulum, and we've had Zach actually take the dowsing rods out and had some activity there too. So when you're outside, some of the things to think about is your equipment, obviously, the rim pod. We have grasshoppers out there. We have the blades of grass because the grass hadn't been cut probably in about a week or two. So those are things to think about that might set off your equipment. The same can be said for our Paranology's equipment. So some of that stuff is pretty sensitive, and you need to watch where you put that. When you're taking your pictures and so forth, you did see again in this clip, since we're facing now, there's a main, it's not even a street light, but it's a pole light behind the church that dims at a certain time at night. And you can see the church, they were actually having some type of activity that was going on that night. So you can see the lights on in the church. You might have heard some of the people in the background. But that big main light up there was actually causing some reflections on the camera. So you did see the halos again, the lens flare halos, shine in that clip. So again, things that you don't think about can cause these anomalies. So just know when you're out and about, and even if you're inside, it could be an old building, it could be an old home, just know what's going to be reflective. And that's part of the reason why we go through and do the walkthrough. Sometimes you can take video on your walkthrough, if you know you're going to be doing a couple of cases before you get back to reviewing that evidence and you want to do a video of one of the rooms that's active. That's a great idea to do because it's just like taking pictures. You have something to go back to compare it to. But it also will allow you to see with the light on things that might be reflective in the room that you hadn't thought about. I mean, we think about picture frames and mirrors and glass and windows and that type of stuff, but there could be, who knows, a radio in the corner with an antenna that we didn't necessarily see, but we caught it with a picture or we caught it with a video. So that's the kind of stuff to kind of think about. We've got an active room, and of course your client's going to think, hey, they're going to find something, and you're going to see something like that and think you caught something when actually it was a reflection or a lens flare coming off of something in the room. So be aware of that and kind of be aware of what can make that happen. Question it, question it, and compare it to your other pictures. Think logical explanations first, remember, before we get to the paranormal. Same thing happens when you're outside, like what we were doing. We're out there where there's bugs and flies and moths and lightning bugs and all sorts of fun stuff. So just be aware of what's around you. Take some pictures. You can hear us kind of notate as we're videoing what we think it is and what we see. So that's kind of smart to do as well. If you're doing a lot of different cases back to back, or if you do a case this weekend, you've got a busy week, you got another case next weekend, as time lapses between the time that you've been on the investigation to the time that you can actually review evidence, you're going to forget some stuff. So it's okay to notate it on the footage. It's okay to notate it on your audio recorder too as you're out there. So I hope tonight you were able to see some of the stuff from our investigations, some of our experiments. We're going to do some more, like I said, but hopefully it's helping you review your evidence and look for more stuff, as well as helping you kind of understand photography a little bit more. We'll start working on some videography hopefully soon, so you can see some of the tricks of taking care of things. We talked about on the NPS page last week cell phone cameras and the iPhone 5 camera and some of the anomalies that it was causing. So get on Google. Don't be afraid to, hey, what's my Samsung Note 3 capable of doing, or what's been some of the complaints about it. Same thing with your DSLRs. Get out there on the Google sites, get out there on the camera manufacturer sites and see what they can do. Do the same thing for your night vision cameras, your full spectrum cameras. Know what they're capable of. It was suggested for the iPhone where your camera is. I've got a Note, I don't have an iPhone, but the iPhone camera is on the corner, is when you're taking a picture to shield the light so you don't get that lens flare. You wouldn't know that unless you Googled it, okay? So don't be afraid. It's your friend. We Google everything else. Why wouldn't we Google about our equipment? Why wouldn't we want to have a logical explanation in place before we assumed it was paranormal? So you'll see us on NPS. We ask a lot of questions. You don't learn unless you're asking. So, get out there, Google your information. Come to me and ask me. I'm not afraid to do the experiments. I've had people ask us to specifically go look at stuff, and we've gone out and tried to recreate it. So some of you guys probably saw us about 2 weeks ago. We took a GoPro camera out to the lake and we're trying to get some pictures and see what we could get with moisture around us. So we'll do silly stuff like that, guys. Don't don't hesitate to message me and say, hey, Sheri, now let's make sure it's not something that's going to hurt us, okay? But within reason, we'll go out and give it a try. So next week, I'm not sure what I'm going to surprise you guys with. We might actually go do something impromptu this weekend and have some film from that. Or we might have something pop up on NPS that we might want to talk about. So until next week, you guys have a great weekend. Think smart, think logically, Google some of your stuff, and I'll see you here in a few minutes on NPS Focus.